Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Full Grammar Alchemist. Class is in session.
Wish I hadn't.
Hey, the rulers, welcome back after a long 2 weeks of Force of Will, including a Force of Will Fest, to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours, featuring myself, DMO73, and I'm joined, as always, by Paul Reisman.
So flippin' tired.
And Mike Rance.
Reference with Polar School and Deepwood University.
And Deepwood University. Our sister schools are represented. Yeah, for those of you who weren't at Force of Will Festival, there were like 20 of them, all rocking the Polar School shirt. It was truly the best. It was very funny.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, for the shirts.
Joe
deserved to win. Joe Cologne deserved to win just because of these shirts.
Yeah, it was
a great player.
It was a very.
The reason he got second place is because he went to Polar School.
Yeah. Well, actually, listen. Polar School graduates were first, second, and third place. So
that is true.
I mean, Polar School cleaned shop. Jeremy Lindley, Joe Colin, and Holscheiser were all Polar School representatives.
That's true.
So I mean, like,
here we are.
I mean, I can't really argue with that. No Ruler School representatives were in the top 8.
And also, my Polar School shirt granted me top 32 placement for being a washed-up player who hasn't played 4 years.
This man got a vacuous in a mirror. Crazy.
I did. It was nuts.
So, just some oversights for those of you, or some kind of follow-ups from FoW Fest if you haven't already seen it. We had 88 players with over 100 ticketed players in the event. I just went to the post office to mail off all the people who unfortunately couldn't make it. Mailed off all of their stuff, but still 88 players, 77 rounds. We had like 47 different represented rulers. 7 of them were in the top 8. It was a really cool spread, really great event. We had a ton of side events. We learned a lot. We had to pivot the location inside the Radisson last minute because of a water main break on Wednesday night, but I think it went well. I think the event went well.
The location of the event was really nice. I liked where we were at.
Yeah, it was really good. And
honestly, kind of an improvement. Not gonna lie.
I
know you like the Kalamazoo room. I know you do.
So the reason why I like the Kalamazoo room better is because the ceilings are a little bit more vaulted and there's better airflow in there. So it does get a little less stuffy. And it also, the Kalamazoo room lets us have everything in one room as opposed to being all spread over, which did make things a little bit awkward sometimes with side event registration and like getting people coordinated a little bit better. We've got some plans for that. Though I will say this, we have already, as it states in the title, FoW Fest is over, on to the next FoW Fest. We have already booked the Radisson Hotel for 2026, June 19th through the 21st. It is Father's Day weekend, or should I say Father's Day weekend, for FoW Fest 2026. It's gonna be great, and you gotta give FoW Dad a present by coming to FoW Fest. You gotta do it. I'm FoW Dad. You gotta come to Father's Day and celebrate with me. It's what it is.
It's only okay because it's a dad joke.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Yeah. That's the whole point. We're already
only okay.
We're already working on the will coins. Taylor and I already have some pitches for the playmat design. We're ready to rock. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. A few things.
The only rulers that are allowed are dads, by the way.
That's not true. We might have a side event that's FoW Daddy format.
Okay, perfect.
Like that might be what we do. Is we'll have a FoW Daddy format. Well, specifically.
But Jeremy, is it going to be FoW like dads or FoW like daddies?
No, I think it has to be specifically a father figure has to be used.
All right. Okay, fine.
Okay, what about
There's
a
lot
Pedro
of them.
Pascal?
Strangely, there are a lot of them. There's actually more FoW dads than you think. Who would you consider? Like Tagris, FoW dad. That man had kids. Tagris had kids. Alhamat had kids. You know that in some way, strange shape or form, CL probably is a FoW dad because lineage-wise went down to being Feathsing. So like that lineage continued somehow, and CL was a guy, so that's a FoW dad. We're gonna flesh out the rules for
Yeah.
FoWDad format. Okay, it's gonna happen. Don't worry.
Is Tia Latoliel Farrah Latoliel's daughter, or like cousin, sister?
I think probably
like,
related.
Roommate,
I think probably, yeah.
yeah,
Probably daughter, probably. We'll look into the lore.
probably.
We'll have a
Farrah's
list.
dad.
We'll have a list of all the FoWDads well before that format. Mikage, obviously. We know he's got daughters. So lots of cool stuff going on there. A few other things to note that we already can announce now is the room block has been expanded to not only have more rooms, but also will be expanded to include Thursday night. We will have a certain number of rooms on Thursday night available at the Radisson now. We know that some people wanted to stay on Thursday night, maybe come a little bit sooner to jump into the events earlier on Friday. So we're already working with the Radisson to get that in place. And we are also introducing a format that we are calling one rounders. This was an idea that was pitched by our judge, Phil Mosca, which is a wonderful idea. It's that we're going to still flesh out exactly how much pricing is for it, but the idea is you and a person pay a smaller amount of money than you would to play in an ABC pod or anything else. It's just you and one other person, and we hand the two of you a packet of points, and we say winner gets what the bigger packet of points, loser gets the smaller packet of points. Go play a match. And so the idea is to encourage people to play single matches against multiple people, and like we might do like a King of the Hill thing where like if someone can show that they've beat the most different people in one rounders, maybe they get a prize. Like, because what we saw, the one thing that side events worked really well overall at FoW Fest, but we did have some little hiccups where there was just like awkward times where pods were like waiting to fire, but then when they did fire, people were already in a different pod somewhere else. So it's like we needed something a little bit snappier to be able to fill the time and make potential space available for people. So we're going to be including that. Also, we are going to be shifting entry pricing a little bit. We're still going to do 50, 75, 100 for the different tiers, but in exchange for giving ourselves some leeway with the amounts of promos and stuff, we're also going to be including a different amount of prize wall points for signing up. So that will be contributed to the different levels as well. So you might not necessarily get quite as much insane promo stuff as I've done, mainly because I'm running out of places to get insane promo stuff for. But higher tiers will still get you some additional kind of maybe advanced work to get into the prize wall a little bit too, to make it really worth your money there. So we're working on some cool stuff for that too. So I've already got a year, but we're booked at the Radisson. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But beyond that, let's talk more about this year. From the TO side of things, honestly, I thought this weekend went flawlessly. I thought FoW Festival went off incredibly smooth. I was so grateful to see such crazy deck diversity and players from different communities and such cool cosplay and people having fun playing in side events and laughing and joking and trading, and it was just really awesome. It was everything that I wanted it to be, and people were hanging out, and it was great. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who showed up. And for the few games that I did get to play with people was also really fun. It was cool to see everybody there. So that was my experience. I mean, Paul, you were in the commentary booth all weekend long. Mike, you were in the tournament. What was stuff like for you guys from where you were sitting?
Mike, I want you to
go first. Oh, all right. Well, never mind. I will be going first then. I mean, what can I say? This was probably some of the most fun I've had in Force of Will in years, to say the least.
It's also the first Force of Will event. It's also the first Force of Will event you've been to in years. But
I went to Worlds.
That's true. You did go to Worlds. That's true. You did.
But no, honestly, the whole way that everything was set up, obviously every game that I played, every person that I played against, the FoW community, especially for FoW Fest, I don't know what it is. The community feels much more tight-knit than it was years prior. It just feels like everyone's really just there to have a good time. And something that I really enjoyed, there was no ego from any player that I played against. Just like the moment I sat down, I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to read a lot of your cards. I'm probably gonna have to read a lot of my cards. I hope you enjoy spending the next 12 minutes playing this aggro matchup with me. And if I see double Uranus, you die, hopefully. So, GG's. And and just going into it, just being like, hey, I'm playing caveman Unga Bunga decks. I'm just gonna swing at you. Hopefully I win. I had some of my favorite moments I've had in the game in what could be considered probably like my entire time playing. Like there was a point where I went down to 0 cards in hand, flipped a Mars, got rid of a Uranus, played flute, drew 4 cards, found an invitation, and burned my opponent out for the lethal exact that I needed. Like just things like that. I was just like, there was no pressure. There was just no ego with anyone. Pat said I read 2 entire cards. He's so right. I had to read cards from like Aristella. It was crazy. It was unbelievable.
Now your 7 rounds, do you remember off the cuff how many different rulers you played against? Because that for me, when I was playing competitively, one of the things that I always kind of like, even if I didn't top, one of the things that really I looked for in my tournament scenes was how many different matchups did I play? Because if I just played the same like deck over and over and over again, then like I kind of left a sour taste in my mouth when I was leaving the tournament because like I just did the same match a bunch. Even if it was the one that I'd already tested a bunch, it was like, man, I'd like to see something different. But so I'm curious to you, from 7 rounds, do you remember how many unique decks you played against?
Jeremy, if I remember correctly, I did not play against a single duplicate ruler or deck that entire tournament.
Let's freaking go.
To be fair, I was in loser's bracket for most of it. So
that's fine.
Take that
that's fine.
A big old pinch of salt.
I mean, keep in mind that I also said win or lose, even if I topped or not, I would still be interested to play a bunch of different decks. Because I think that there's something about, which was, for me, once we finally got the ruler breakdown, which was like middle of round 3, the thing that I was so excited about was just, 47 different represented rulers means that like your day, regardless of where you fall in the bracket, is going to be diverse. It's going to be unique. It's going to be enticing. It's going to be engaging because you just get to experience so much. It's not just, this again. Like there's something about that, whether you're winning or losing, that I think is a real great thing that I want to see in formats. And so like that was really awesome for me to see from the sidelines. So it's really cool to hear from your perspective as well. You got to do all that stuff. Move the cursor on the screen. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Patrick.
But the other thing with it being so open and so different every single round is that like there were some things like, I know what some of these rules do. Some of them. I know what some of these cards do. But every so often there was something that I had to like read and be like, I have never seen this in my life. What does this do? And then I nearly die turn 2 from it. And I'm like, sick. Okay. Awesome. All right. Glad I held up the dodgy. It's fine. but it's stuff like that. Like my first round, I'm playing against Ashton, who's on Order Alice. And like she flips into the Charlotte with the Revolution Order. First of all, it shuts down my Mars. Shuts down my
being able to recover.
Being able to recover, which is already so funny. I'm like, well, I'm in trouble already.
I'm in danger.
It's exactly what it was. But then she drops a thing that turns a Charlotte J ruler into a 30,000. Turns out that Charlotte that you flip into an order is now a Charlotte J ruler. Yep. Just got domed.
That'll do it.
Oh my god, it was awesome. It was so funny. And then every other round that I played was just like Gentleman's FoW, where it's like I'm playing against an aggro deck and it's like, are you gonna hold up any kind of answer? No. Are you? No. Cool. Let's see who hits each other first. And that was really fun. That was funny. And then, oh my god. Not only that, but even just like evolutions on decks that already existed. Like, Jeremy Lindley did not have to come in flashing a Rachel smile. Like, he did not have to do that. But he decided to become the most terrifying man.
A card that, by the way, when it was first printed, was the most unplayable card that people still tried to make work. We still tried to make that card work, and it was unplayable. Jeremy Lindley was like, it just was a fine wine. It just needed to age, and its time is now. We can crack that bottle open. And that was crazy cool to see. Like, I was really, like, that was awesome.
That was one of the sickest things I've seen all day. Like, obviously, like, I didn't get to play against him because he was in winner's bracket, and I was skating along the bottom, just like, but like, that's just the coolest thing about the whole thing. Like, I just never in a million years, if I knew what every card this game did and like played before going to the tournament, rather than being like, Jeremy, build me a deck and
Which I
hopefully
did.
I'll pilot it okay, which I did okay. I did okay with it.
Yeah, you did great.
Yeah. But like, if I had
Yeah.
like done some research on the deck beforehand, maybe I would have come up with that. Maybe I would have come up with something different. Like, there's a million and one things.
I do want to. I have. You had mentioned to me after FoW Fest was over that I was like, I kind of was checking in with you throughout the day, seeing how things were going. At the end of the tournament was over. It's like, well, am I going to see you again next year? And you were like, yeah, you're going to try to make it. So I have the question for me is, from your perspective, because I think you carry with you a unique perspective in that you've been tangentially involved with Force of Will, but at a distance for quite some time. This was your first time really stepping back into the ring in terms of playing. And then you have kind of two aspects. You have the actual like gameplay aspect and the like fun of FoW Fest aspect. Would you say that your desire to try to come back is like primarily driven by your gameplay experience that you had finally getting back in and playing FoW, the experience of FoW Fest as it was, and kind of like getting back into that space, or like some kind of mixture of the two?
I'd say it leans more towards the experience of FoW Fest itself rather than the gameplay. The gameplay is still FoW. Like, it's
Sure.
different, it's faster, it's tighter. You really have to be careful with every move you make. It's not the same game that I played when I was first starting out, but it doesn't have to be. That's
Right.
something I realized. It's a game where it's like, I can go in and pick up a game that's like turn one wins. Like, I can pick up Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and just throw a bunch of shit at the screen and like everything's fine and dandy and it's okay. Did I fully enjoy the experience? Not necessarily, but I was slinging cards, I was doing something. It felt good to see things happen. But then when you sit down with somebody in person for something like FoW, where it's like it's not quite as tight and rich as Yu-Gi-Oh is, but there's still like that level of like complexity that comes with everything you do, where every single decision you make matters.
Mm-hmm.
And you could go into a match thinking like, okay, I have to make sure that I really am like trying to make sure that I don't get got. I'm trying to like go these next few turns, like every single thing I do matters, and getting in your own head. Or you could do what I did, turn your brain off because you're just coming here to have fun with a bunch of your friends. And then suddenly everything's happy, lucky, hunky dory. If you lose, great, whatever. You had a good time. You played against somebody who's better than you, and they showed you a cool deck. Or you win, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I actually pulled that off by just staying true to what I wanted to do. Like, I knew my game plan. I went into it. But that goes into the other point of it's not just the gameplay that does that, it's the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what made FoW Fest for me. I loved meeting everyone, seeing faces putting faces names in chat who are not from the old guard, who I never knew before this because I haven't been to the tournament scene since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of new faces that I've never seen before, a bunch of old faces that I got to see. Like, I haven't seen Phil since I moved to California.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to hang with him a little bit, and it's nice.
Now, all you old guarders who are watching, see, Mike had a good time.
Just come play.
Just come back. Just come back. It's great.
Throw every match. You just come hang out with friends.
Yeah, man. I'll build you decks. I got so many decks. Please.
Jeremy's got cards.
I do. Our goal for FoW Fest next year is 120. Feel like that's a 75% growth from where we're at now. I think going from 90 to 120. So I guess it's a
33%.
33% growth, give or take. Yeah, right around.
So.
It's like that's what we're aiming for. We're trying to hit 120 next year. So really would hope that I think that's very doable. Like, that feels very doable.
And I did get to play Party Cube. That was fun. I love Party Cube.
So thanks, Mike. Thanks for sharing that. And those of you in the chat as well, if you want to share, your perspective, especially for those of you who are first timers. I know we have people who've been here before, but we have people who made first timers, or maybe even have never been to an in-person FoW event before. Really would like to see how that's going to happen. But Paul, commentary side.
Yeah.
what was the vibe like for you from the observer commentator side of things?
Observatory.
We saw. Well, we saw a lot of different decks. Like you said, I think you mentioned like there's like around 50 very different decks.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to be able to sit back and talk about sort of the wide variety of rulers we saw, given that I have been making a meta breakdown for every meta game that we've had since like probably like beginning of Trinity Cluster.
Mm-hmm.
And at present, with all of the new stuff that just got reinvigorated back into the format because of the ban list, we're looking at 78 different rulers. Not to mention all the different combinations you can do with a lot of the more popular rulers.
Yeah.
There was a real conversation that Lance and I had on stream about how you can really do whatever you want with a lot of the rulers that we have. Like there are some that are just going to be like really tight and really sure good investments for any sort of tournament. But if you want to sit down and you want to craft and you want to test and you want to plan through the metagame, you have a real chance, even with a ruler like Lucy, right?
This format from an observational standpoint, I talked with this a lot with who I've been getting to know a lot more, and I've really appreciated the conversations. Moon Sage, who is a player that is very successful over in Spain. We were talking about how this format has really felt like it is the trifecta format, where it rewards players who are good at all three things: piloting, building, and meta calls. Right? It really, really rewards that kind of gameplay more than any specific ruler choice. Like those three skills being strong, regardless of what ruler you're piloting. Obviously meta choice influences a little bit what ruler you decide to shot call, but like it doesn't define it. It is like really rewarded. And I think like that seemed like that was what you were observing in the commentary as well. I don't know.
A lot of, I will say, in the game right now, there is a substantial increase in the terms of complexity that the game is offering in its rulings. We had a lot of ruling calls, and the chat was really helpful with that. We had Lars Graham, who was making a lot of comments, trying to get us to figure out like, hey, what's going on there? And just recognizing that there is a limitation behind the commentary desk, and that sometimes the games are just really, really messy. So like player communication, stress, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I come away from this feeling like sometimes I may come across as really pedantic for some players, but really it's just to make sure everyone knows what's going on, right?
We have a chase zone on the stream play mat for a reason.
Yeah.
I did find myself in some judge. I will say this. I found myself in some judge calls. Most of the time I did not jump in on judge calls. I left it to our floor judges, our wonderful floor judges being Phil Mosca and Patrick Ogrenz, and our head judge Charlie, who did phenomenal work. There were a couple of times where they were busy, and so I would hop in on a judge call. I think Mike was one of them, where I said, okay, y'all are saying stuff happened. I'm going to build this chase real quick. And I started moving their cards to like between them. To be like, okay, this is trying, then this, then this, then this. We need to visualize it, lay it out. It's gonna be okay. We'll solve it together. I felt like that thing from that SpongeBob where he's trying to like assemble the guy's cheeseburger, and he's like, "Stay with me. We're gonna be okay." It's like I'm putting the cards in the right order. It's like it's okay, man. We're just build the chase. It's just build the chase.
Lettuce, cheese, tomato bun.
Yeah, just like build the chase so we can see what happens. You just got to do it.
And even shout out to Cal, our dedicated stream judge, who was doing all of that really hard work all weekend. A lot of our judges were just exhausted because they got in at like 1 a.m. from a flight or something like that. And it was just a crazy time. And so shout outs to all of them for doing so much hard work just on the floor. I will say that. And then, I mean, just in general, sometimes there were just elements where you could kind of see how the new cards would really punish certain plays. Especially the new Sphinx. When you have that in hand, just recognize like, whew, sometimes that card can just slap and just give you like a +3 out of nowhere.
Richard Coelho, not gonna lie, the game is kind of hard to play with my friends because of how complex the cards are nowadays. He decided to buy some older starter decks. Definitely one of the things that we encourage for people as well, if like the complexity element is like not, you're not quite ready for the complexity element, but you still want to like learn what current power level FoW cards feel like, is ABC format. The ABC starter decks are like, that's such a nice way to experience like what new power level cards feel like in a much more chill, less combo oriented, more slow paced, relaxed environment where like the risk of making a mistake is significantly lower. You know, but older starter decks also serve for a similar purpose. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and
it's
also you can take a lot of your older sorry, Paul. I was just gonna say you can also take a lot of these older cards and create a cube off of them too. Like especially if you want to play with friends and just get them in on a lower power level, lower complexity. Older star decks, older sets are phenomenal for that. Also, by the way, for everybody who did not come to FoW Fest, you missed out on something wonderful. Yo-Yo FoW's partner, whose name escapes me because I learned a lot of names that weekend and my brain was spinning when I turned. Micah, yes. Oh my God, I feel bad.
But they were doing these all weekend. They're like little custom little themed sticker ruler slabs. These are great.
I made Rizard say nyan on this one. It's great.
My fox is saying meow. My nighttime fox is saying meow. It's got a
but this is what I'm talking about. Like,
these are great.
Where else is this going to happen than at FoW Fest?
Like, hopefully, I would love for it to happen at every GP, but definitely FoW Fest.
Correct.
For real.
We're starting a revolution here.
We saw interesting card choices on stream too. A lot of Persephone showed up. I think that card is notably coming back into vogue a little bit, because we are starting to see. Yeah, I mean she's a good just play a resonator, pop something, draw a card, which is a very handy effect to have in this format where we have a lot of barrier chant, like on Shaman, for instance.
Also can be used to punish plays like Mirror. It can be used to bait things like Mirror, where you can like throw out a card, they try to mirror it, and you use Persephone to put your own spell back in your hand, and you're like, you're gonna burn this mirror, that's fine. We're gonna instead that mirror is going to hit Persephone instead of the card that you were trying to hit, and then we'll use this later. Like kind of like a weird, it kind of turns Persephone into like a weird discard spell, like an instant speed discard spell, kind of, where you're like, I'm gonna bait out
discard curse mirror of the
exactly. This card
Duh.
says pay 1 green, your opponent discards a curse mirror. Like,
I mean, we're seeing a lot of that, especially in the Paradox format because of Memory of Worlds, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where like cards are played, Memory of Worlds, cool. I just baited out your cancel, and we're starting to see that crop into Wanderer a little bit too. But just the added utility of being able to like pop Shaman, is really really handy.
Sure.
Just really good tempo plays like that. So it's cool to see that stuff kind of creep back in. The complexity of cards and rulings is definitely going up. We're seeing more text on cards. I remember at the start of this format, Lucy and Utsune's, we needed to make a guide on them because they were so complicated that I didn't even understand what they were doing. Right?
True.
And
That's why Jeremy make the caveman deck so we know how to think. And also, if I won the game early, Unga Bunga, and if I didn't have to read somebody, and if I won the game early enough, I didn't really have to read anyone else's cards.
That's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
You're not reading them. That's too many words. Either I'm happy for you or sorry that happened.
Ricardo, what do you guys hope for the future of the game? I mean, I'm gonna kind of just say
answer that.
My answer for that really is just kind of like, kind of more of what we're doing now in terms of like, I would like continued steady growth. I would like to see maybe more in-person events. I look forward to more masterpiece collections. I look forward to continued strong execution with the ban list stuff. Like, So it's weird to say like more of the same, but I kind of think more of the same within a boundary to not like suddenly power creep everything to craziness, but like more of the same that then facilitates steady growth. Like that's kind of what I hope for, because I enjoy the
Yeah.
complexity of the game now. I talk with Paul all the time that if my head doesn't maybe hurt a little bit at the end of locals, it kind of felt like a bad night. Like I enjoy the complexity of Force of Will. Like I like the games to be in depth and involved. And like even against decks like the Luminaries deck, I see them as a puzzle to try to solve. And so like those are fun and engaging for me. So I don't mind the fact that it's complicated. I know some people maybe want it to continue
Yeah.
to be simplified, which is where Paradox kind of comes in a little bit there too. But in terms of design space, ruler diversity, ruler flexibility, creativity, room for creativity, fun interactive gameplay, I kind of feel like we're in our stride. And so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just want more of that, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The only thing that I would probably say is that, like, I feel like single individual cards should do less moving forward. And I think especially with Paradox, I think it's a lower print format where you can start printing those.
Yeah.
And they won't affect sales. And that I think is where the perfect fine line comes in.
for sure.
I will agree with that, because in my head, the like perfect amount of complexity that the game offered, while still having a lot of variety and a lot of like that same puzzle solving element, was kind of like New Valhalla Cluster going into Alice Origins. Like also
Yeah.
kind of Rhea. Like
Mhm.
that 3 cluster period felt like for me the sweet spot of um in the I guess you could call it the pre-tag era,
Right.
in which we had really solid 1 to 2 effects on cards, not getting too crazy with with the wordage, not getting too crazy with this. Like the thing about the current game is that you have to have certain knowledge of CR mechanics in order to make the most of the deck. And sometimes the cards that are printed don't help you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Reading the card does not
yeah.
explain the card.
Not always.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's a fair critique. I think that's fair.
Reading the card should explain the card, and if you have to go and figure out how investigate works in the CR, which is an entire section on its own, you may not play Zaki.
That's fair.
For instance.
To Yo-Yo's point, we did just get a massively cool update over on Force of Wind that I think will offer some really cool stuff. There is now a tournament creator where you can literally create and host submissions of deck lists and details for tournaments and signing up and submitting deck lists and everything else. That's just a really cool new tool that I haven't played around with. I'm going to be working with Neeb. I'm going to be working with Neeb to create a tutorial video here on Ruler School for both. That's going to walk through as a tournament organizer and as a player what you can do with this program. This update has been a long time coming. It's very, very cool. They also have a dedicated spoilers section now that can, like, whatever the new set comes in, you can just go straight to that to look up the newest spoilers exclusively as they come out, which I think is great. The pack simulator still exists up through Masterpiece Collection 1. We kind of stopped updating it, which is fair because I stopped doing the progression series. Something had to give. But you know, that's still a cool thing that you can do. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There's also a deck search tool now, which is very cool. You can search for specific types of decks, which I think is fun. There's lots
the metrics
of cool
is really interesting.
metrics.
Check out the metrics.
Yeah.
I think they don't have the 30-day, 90-day, or all-time stuff up yet, but
it
even
lets you
just in the
see.
last 7 days, you can see that Curse Mirror of the Snake has been picked in deck building 29% of the time.
Yeah, you can see what cards
Huge.
are making their way to the top of the lists. You can see the attribute distributions and everything else. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool new tools for us for data analysis, which is also very nice. So like things are being fleshed out. Like I think for me, future of the game, it's like that more people continue to show interest in such ways that they feel motivated to help us build out new tools or continue to get engaged or spark up. Like, for instance, I know that there is a new community starting up in like Louisiana near Baton Rouge. That was like
Oh, cool.
players getting started up there, and ordering product and like wanting to come to FoW Fest now, and like all this other stuff. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I just want the passion to maintain, and like the current gameplay feel to be maintained, so that we continue to grow on it. From there, it's just decisions that are kind of outside of our hands in regards to like more events, more stuff. We're already working on the next circuit series kit, so I'm hoping that we can get more stores to order those circuit kits for next time. It's just more work. It's just more boots on the ground grind work at this point in time, because the gameplay is so fun. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
With stuff. So that's my perspective. Speaking of the future, to kind of talk about it, we did get information just before FoW Fest, specifically. I'll bring it up here, of the Evil Cluster. So it's the Evil Cluster, not Devil Cluster. The official name is the Evil Cluster, as pronounced. Why it was called Devil Cluster is the Evil Cluster, so the evil, whatever. But we got some new information. So we have the new starter decks that are coming out, and we have the first new set, which is called Descent into the Raven's Catacombs. It talked about how we have new mechanics. We also are going to be refleshing out Divinity coming back more. And it does seem like these new mechanics will be kind of overlapping a little bit. So very much kind of in the veil of what old New Valhalla was like, where the rulers themselves kind of had some overlaps between them with the different runes and flexibility. We have a new card type called Warden. We don't really know what that does at all. It's just a new card type that's represented. And then we're going to have two starter decks, which is the Valgot Blue-Black starter deck and the Matilda Red-White starter deck. And these will be releasing in the last week of August. The last weekend of August. So the rest of the GP season in the United States is current format, whether it be between Wanderer or Paradox. That being said, the company has said that they are going to be updating the Paradox ban list kind of more frequently than necessarily every single set, at least as it kind of continues to grow. So we might see a Paradox ban list update before next set. I don't imagine that we will see much change to the Wanderer ban list before next set, but then again, I don't necessarily think we need to. I think this is still another conversation I was having with Moonsage, was very much saying that the format is only solvable for one tournament. And then as soon as the results from that one tournament are posted, the format will shift again, which I think is fair. I think that's very accurate for what we saw from the results. I think, we kind of identified what the boogeymen are, but those decks are not infallible. If people expect a lot of the Luminaries deck, then suddenly you expect maybe a lot of anti-super aggro decks to come out. Things like Bianchi, things like Ruchil, things like Alex Sansta with heavy protect stuff. Like, these are all things that can play well into these like hyper aggro decks, right? There's a lot of stuff that can Lucy. Yeah, exactly. Right. Lucy as well. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. And so the format is only really solvable for one event. And so the United States is shifting its focus right now to Paradox, because we have a GP at the end of this month for online for Paradox. And then we have a GP for Wanderer in July. But we know that there is a Wanderer event. There's a Wanderer event overseas. There's also in Germany. I think Austria is Paradox as well. France has another Wanderer GP. There's like all kinds of events happening. So lots of formats to still explore, which is going to be crazy to see coverage and see what we have. But it's exciting stuff. Mike, you qualified for Worlds in the first time in, was it first time or second time in New Valhalla era?
I qualified for Worlds the first time with an unpaid in Cherry format for Ray Cluster, and then 2020 I was in. No, it was Alice Origin 4.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Paul and Mike, you guys talk about your ideas about the Evil Cluster.
All right. So if the chase is a sandwich, and we're playing a very complex board state of FoW, could that sandwich potentially be a triple bossy deluxe on a raft 4x4 animal style, extra shims with a shimmy and a squeeze, light afterwards, baby cry burn, and let it swim?
Pickles?
I forgot the pickles actually. That's my
Ooh.
bad.
Ooh. Yeah, we can't do that. Yeah, it's not possible. I will say though, given the amount of footage in this particular fandom, there's a confirmed chance that we are going to see Carlina support, balanced Carlina support in this in this new Evil Cluster. In terms of the setting, I think this is Yomidgard. So
because it turns out it was just Gilapis the whole time.
Oh, I was the bad guy the whole time. So I'm wondering, I'm personally from a lore perspective, I'm wondering if Yomidgard is the quote unquote demon dimension.
We're coming, Yomidgard is Satan's world. So I've been informed that, for as far as I know, this is not a flashback to before it got conquered. So this might be might be what's going on in Yomidgard post conquering.
It's always sunny in Yomidgard.
Yeah.
Which, if this is so, I would imagine this is the other timeline's version of Yomidgard, because we've already gone into the demonic world, quote unquote, Yomidgard in the
OG timeline.
In the victorious timeline,
correct?
Right?
And now we're in the time.
We
and then we're
time
break.
And then we time break.
Now we've time broken, and now we're in Yomidgard, where Gil Lapis has taken it over.
He's conquered it. Yes.
The Conqueror.
The Conqueror.
The Conqueror.
Fox is going to show
up.
And
he's going to go, nope, mine. It's swamp now. No fire.
Only swamp ass.
Only swamp.
Only swamp. I don't know how they're gonna make Carlina work either.
I imagine we'll probably see it in this cluster. I have to imagine.
We will definitely see it in this cluster. I think we're gonna see variations on some old favorites like Belial and Beatrice and Dante and potentially Virgil as well. I'd like to see Virgil expanded on as a protagonist personally.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then maybe some other demonic presences as well, like some kind of like anti-villains or even some like anti-hero elements would be really cool in this world.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how runes play back into it, how divinity plays back into it. The use of the rune deck, I think, is a world that we can explore again carefully. I think you gotta be. I think
it's been 5 years.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. I think you can explore the rune deck mechanic. I kind of feel like it deserves to have a little bit of a retooling, similarly to how we finally retooled stealth. Like, I wouldn't mind like the rune deck being like the rune deck. Sorry, the Grimoire deck was sideboardable. The rune deck was not. So I want to keep that, where like that's what you have. But I think we got to be careful about like, let's not make a shit ton of free runes. Like,
Yo-Yo Fell brings up a very good point. I want to see how Fallen Angel tags with Grimoire existing. That's a really good question. That I wonder if there's not really going to be any counterplay, but the fact that Paradox for this year, once we get Masterpiece 3, Grimoire rotates out. and then we have Devil
That's true.
Cluster without the ability to kill a tag with
That's
her.
true. That's
That's very interesting.
that's one of the things that we've talked about here on the channel too, is as it stands right now for 10 oaths, we're still making our primary feature matches for the new rulers, specifically Wanderer format. That's what we're doing, because in my perspective, you can play Paradox, but Paradox has not been fully realized and brought to light until we start the third cluster, which is why we haven't really touched on it for feature matches here in the channel. But once the first set of Evil Cluster drops, our initial feature matches for every ruler of a new cluster of the new sets is going to be Paradox. Like, that's the idea. And then the deck profiles will be, here's what we would do to this ruler in Wanderer. Like, here's the Paradox build. Second half of the video is, if we were to take this ruler into Wanderer, here's what we would do. Right? That's kind of where we're focused on. Grimoire doesn't rotate until the cluster after Evil Cluster. Yeah, Grimoire's not going to rotate for a while because it wasn't Masterpiece. It was just in Trinity Cluster.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh, I thought it was a
in,
Masterpiece card.
Nope. It was.
No, it's not a Masterpiece.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there for a while. It could get banned. It could get banned out of Paradox. We'll see.
That's true.
I mean, it hasn't really seen any play outside of books. Maybe not.
we can just play a lot of stuff. I mean, like, we have ways to get rid of Grimoire already.
It's more the enter effect to say you don't get a second ruler.
is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But there's ways.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
like, I'm not
we
worried.
have design space that we can design into. I'm not worried about it either. I think it's probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Like, there's not, like, to me, the biggest takeaways from FoW Fest, I walked into FoW Fest to, it's like, speaking about the future, I walked into FoW Fest looking at 3 cards. For Minnesota, I had 3 cards that I was watching, and they all just kind of performed, which was Virgil, Gates, and Otherworld Dreams. They were the 3 cards that I was just like, I wonder how these are going to be performing. All 3 of them just kind of performed. They didn't overperform. They didn't underperform. They just felt good, like decent options, right? Going into the FoW Fest, the 3 cards that I was watching was Epiphanic Priest. It was Epiphanic Priest.
Pyromancer.
It was Pyromancer, and it was Soul Eating Curse. And all 3 of them also just kind of performed. Like, like, I was also watching Courtesans and Sphinx. Those were like tangentially watching, and those also just kind of performed. Like, Sphinx felt like the card that most people were kind of like playing around and respecting, and sometimes there were matches where the person using the Sphinx got punished more than the person being Sphinxed. And
they're also really new cards.
Yeah, and
like, to be fair, they're
that's
really
fair.
new cards.
That's fair, but they were like on spoil. They were kind of like the cards that everyone was thinking about, right?
Sure.
And then Courtesans itself, I also felt was being pretty well respected. Now, arguably, Solo Gil Lapis kind of abused Courtesans the most, but like, we had a crap ton of Gil Lapises in the format and only 1 converted. So it's just like, I guess maybe put it on a watch list, but I don't even think you need that. And like, even the games that I saw with Courtesans with Solo Gil Lapis, it was just kind of like, like, this is good. It's not like I'm scared of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, I came away from that tournament, from FoW Fest again, like, we've now, speaking of the future, I feel like FoW Fest defined the starting line, but boy howdy did it not define any of the rest of the race that is this format. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much left to explore, so many twists and turns, so many decks could come out on top and like adjust and adapt and everything else. And that to me is really exciting. And so as we go into the Evil Cluster, I want that same vibe to be what continues. I want us to feel like every format feels like a unique challenge that presents new concern, or that presents new problems to solve and new options to take, so that it just doesn't ever feel stale. Because like, looking at the FoW Fest results and like knowing what people are kind of toying around with now, it still already feels like it's not going to be stale. And so I just want that to continue too. And I hope Evil Cluster even with rune rulers, or divinity rulers, I want to see that stick there. And I think the way that happens is I need the divinity rulers to feel balanced. And I think starting with 5, technically 7 if we're including the 2 starter decks, is already shaping up to give us a space to be able to make that possible. Like, I'm not concerned about that, right?
Yeah.
10 from the jump was a lot and identified clear favorites from the very beginning for New Valhalla. 7 prefaced with the concept of mechanics are not going to be tied to any one specific attribute or color of the like newly introduced mechanics, already has me like, okay, this feels like we're once again in that space of we can goof around, we can experiment, we can really kind of get flexible, which is really fun for me.
Yeah, I think if I reflect on what's to come based on what we've seen in this cluster so far, there's been a very strong through line with a lot of these rulers in terms of the mechanics we saw kind of being drip fed to us in the first couple of sets and then lasting all the way through the end of the cluster.
Yeah.
If we do something similar with these new rune rulers, I'm very interested to see that design space. Because I mean, like there's a lot of design space in rune decks where you can do a lot of really interesting, weird things that are kind of locked to those particular rulers, very similar to the mechanics that we saw like ruler locked in this particular cluster. So
Symbol of Magical Fraying
there's a lot of design space.
Symbol of Magical Fraying is a really neat card when you consider rune decks. Like,
also did not perform because of the ruling, right?
oh yeah,
I thought that card was going to be a lot better.
Like, show your opponent everything. Listen,
Oh my gosh.
I disagree with that ruling personally, because we're not a game of freaking spikes that are trying to rule shark people. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I disagree with that ruling. I'm not the TO, or I was the TO, but I didn't get in the way of the ruling that was made by that. I think it's dumb. I think if someone plays Symbol of Magical Fraying, you give them the benefit of the doubt that they aren't playing them. And if it's found out later that they were, then boot them from the deck for misrepresenting game state information. DQ, no prize. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's. If you want to come to Force of Will, and try to cheat the fact that you have a water card in your deck so that you can play and still play Symbol of Magical Fraying, get out of my tournament. Like, we don't want you here anyway. Like, I don't know. That just feels like we're not a big enough game and we don't have enough scandal in our game to make that how you have to resolve that. Like, trust people. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a different way to like verify
it's
that.
Not, yeah, I understand. It's the hand knowledge, but it's only reviewing hand knowledge if you just don't trust your opponent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's it's stupid.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's the thing for me. Like, I think personally it's just one of those things where the way that we look at the card needs to be different.
Because here's the other thing too. People were trying to use Symbol of Magical Fraying in solo Gil Lapis plus the XR deck. Why does that person need to reveal their hand to you? You know they aren't playing any water or wind cards. The XR doesn't let them.
Correct.
Why? So why? The XR doesn't let them. So either they're cheating and trying to shake one over on you, or you can trust that they deck built properly. So I just don't think it's necessary to reveal it. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's my rant on Symbol of Magical Fraying. Beautiful artwork, silly ruling. But I'm excited.
Really cool that Red got a cancel.
Oh, I do want to say this. We do have to vote real quick for what deck Mike is going to play at the Paradox GP at the end of this month, because Mike is confirmed playing at the Paradox GP at the end of this month.
Oh.
That's right. He is. Wait, I am. Yes.
Yes, you are. So hold on, let's put up a poll. Hold on, we're gonna vote for it right now, and whatever we vote is what Mike will play.
Oh God.
Okay, here
Yeah,
we
Mike
go.
is playing.
So he gets to play. No, I'm putting up a poll. Mike, I'm gonna give you. What am I gonna give Mike? Solo Dark Tree.
Oh God.
Oh no, I guess you can play Tag Dark Tree, right?
I don't even want to play Dark Tree.
Well, that's one of the options. Dark Tree. You just don't. You can play Dark Tree plus Seabin. You just can't play the Seven Kings. So Dark Tree plus Seabin. Seabin gets God's Arts. Seabin gets God's Arts.
Oh, Dark Tree is banned.
Is Dark Tree banned in Paradox? Let's see.
Unplayable.
Alhamat. Let's see. What other stuff are we playing?
Umer at Tawil. Discard.
No, I'm not gonna do that to
Cthulhu
him.
discard.
You're trying to do a lot of things to me right now, so I don't know, man.
Niklaus Brandhart.
My God.
Solo Ashwin. Okay, here we go. Those are his three choices. Those are the three.
All of these sound like things I have to read, bud.
There's the vote. We have a minute left to vote on what Mike is going to play at Paradox, and I'll send this list off of this exact vote. I will send it to Logan, and then he can ignore it as he builds a deck for Mike.
I was about to say I don't think any of these are on his list.
Yeah.
I mean, I could try and build something in the next 3 days so you can ship me a deck.
You already gave him the list of decks he can play. There you go, Logan. Take care of him. Oh, it's close. Okay. We're getting some good votes here. Alhamat and Solo Ashwin currently tied. Alhamat's taking the lead here a little bit. Maybe Big Daddy Gil. Yeah, there you go. Oh man, this vote's
For real though, it's Lucy because we need to teach Mike how to read.
You don't get test tubes. You don't get test tubes. How do you play Lucy in Paradox without test tubes?
Paul,
Death
I
Speaker
cannot
Monk.
read. It's not. It's
Did
not
you
even
just?
that I
I'm
shouldn't-
sorry. Did you just say Death Speaker Monk?
Oh yeah, that's the tech.
Okay. Well, we've
Pat
ended the
opens up
poll.
the
It's
so
10
much.
o'clock,
Give me one
and
sec.
currently Alhamat won at 50% of the vote. So I guess Alhamat is what
Daddy.
you're going to play. There you go. Anywho, so thank you all so much for being here. Just a few pieces of housekeeping notes for the week. We will have a feature match this week between myself on Solo Adine versus Robert Strong, who is showing us a little bit of what Call of the Monarchs Robometa looks like. Paul will be helping us revisit Robometa with Build Demolish in the coming weeks. And then we'll have deck profiles for some of those lists up later this week. I'm probably going to have Paul on his Robometa build deck list video talk about, this is news to Paul, talk about both versions of Robometa in a single deck video. Because it'll just be easier that way. Not for Paul, but it'll be easier for me. And so Paul's being assigned to this.
I will decide on how to do that. But
yeah,
yes,
we will figure that out. So we'll be working on that. And as usual, be sure to be on the lookout for the information about the next circuit kit. Once the artwork gets approved, we will get that posted so that you can let your stores know to try to get those kits ordered so we can make that happen for quarter 3. We will be doing quarter 3 and quarter 4 kits this year. To flesh it out, we didn't do quarter 2 because of FoW Fest. I think next year we are going to try to do a kit every single quarter, including the one with FoW Fest. So maybe we run a circuit event at FoW Fest, maybe on Friday. That might actually be a fun thing to do on Friday, is run a Force of Will Ruler School circuit on Friday as like a last chance way to earn some prize wall points. Could be fun. But we're gonna do that. And yeah, we're getting into new ruler stuff. I'm excited. Oh, I do also want to say, if you haven't already checked them out, you really do need to check out Prismatic Defenders, the sleeves that were the holographic sleeves that we got as a last minute sponsor for FoW Fest. Super sick. They are literally the perfect sleeves to put on rulers. They look so sick. They are foil, like holographic effect, shatterfoil style, perfect fits and oversleeves that work really nice on rulers. It's a nice way to give your ruler a little bit of extra shininess there. So definitely go check that out. And pick some of those up too. You can check them out. Prismatic Defenders. You search them up on Google. Great, cool tool there. But for that, that's been us. We're back. We survived FoW Fest. Time to get ready for the next FoW Fest. So until next time, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined as always by Paul Reisman.
Death Speaker Lucy. Don't sleep on it.
And Mike Rance.
How does this deck win?
Class dismissed. Bye, everybody.